So I'll wait a couple of minutes. Hopefully people jump off the other stream. They just shut it down on me. Of course they did. And they probably shadow banned this one. I'll give it a couple of minutes. But either way, what I was saying was that even though... What's up, CMB? All right, actually, what did you guys last hear so I know where to pick back up from? Because they shut that stream down. Clearly, they don't want me talking about this. Why would they? What's up, Sarah? Good to see you. Glad you could join. So, the Ebola, right? I'm just going to start this over, this part, because I don't know what all I covered, but after storm conditions flooded the site of this year's Burning Man Festival, rumors online were quick to swirl about a possible Ebola outbreak impacting the thousands of stranded burners still out on the playa. Users on X, formerly known as Twitter, circulated fake posts from the CDC about an outbreak, claimed to have tested positive for the disease, and joked about a quarantine. I like that, Mitz. I know, like, who's sitting there, like, shaking right now, watching this video and being like, oh my God, I can't wait. Just give me one reason to end the stream, please. What a sad, sad little person. Could you imagine having that job, knowing that you got to go into work every day and censor people that are talking about the most important things going on? Like, what? You might as well be throwing people in the gas chamber, because that's ultimately what you are, right? You're a yes man. You're a bootlicker. You will do whatever you have to do so you can get a paycheck. Have a little integrity, right? Have a little integrity. You're funny, man. I like you, Cuts. So we'll see what ultimately happens with this, guys. But if we start seeing crazy outbreaks and it's tied in to people that were at Burning Man, we know damn well how it happened. Absolutely, Jen. 100% sellouts. They couldn't give a damn. They would sell their children for money. They don't care about the common man. It's disgusting. They're disgusting people. And they have to convince themselves that they're doing what's right. Right? Like, even though I'm not, and I get, they pitted the sides so far against each other, but I am not on a side. I'm on the side of the people. That means you piece of shit that keeps silencing all you people that watch these videos and ban them and shadow ban them and strike them down. That's you. You're the POS. You're the one that has to show up to work and lay your head down on the pillow at night, realizing that there's people that are trying to get the message out. Trying to at least show people that, hey, if this ends up happening, if something occurs in the future, it's important to pay attention to what was going on now, which is a speciality of this channel. But you can't have a conscience and do that. I don't know if they're NPCs. I don't know if they're Satanists. I don't know. I don't know what kind of person you have to be able to do that. But I'm glad, thank God, I'm not one of those people. And you aren't as well. So I'm not going to keep going through this. Let me read this part, though. The Los Angeles-based physician who requested anonymity because he is not authorized to speak to the press in his current role. You're not authorized to speak to the press, huh? Said recent weather conditions put stranded attendees risk of hypothermia if they cannot get warm and dry. He added that the longer burners stranded, the greater their likelihood of falling ill with COVID-19. What? the greater their likelihood of falling ill with COVID-19. What a strange thing to throw in the middle of an article. Why would there be a highly... What are you talking about? Are you assuming that people that attended this automatically have COVID-19 when we haven't seen anything on the COVID front in quite a while? You can see what they're getting at. You know what's coming. We know the lockdowns. We know the tyranny that they have to do. It was in the Rockefellers' lockstep, right? We know the game. And they're going to move forward. And they have to have the super spreader event that we've come so accustomed to. Bless you. If it rains again, which it will, and how is there only one road in and one road out? And just the fact that they blocked this road, what a foreshadowing event, right? These climate people blocked the road from going in, and now the road is blocked going out because of the climate. Give me a break, man. Yeah, maybe they will vax them. You guys want to go out, you got to be vaxxed, right? This new it's safe and effective, safe and effective. Just definitely something to pay attention to. Yeah, I got no doubt about it, Kutz. It'll be, and then tonight it'll probably be some storm. Maybe not. Maybe it's great weather and they'll all get out great, hopefully. But we'll see what happens from here on out. I just think there's really something suspect about Burning Man this year. It really has never been on my radar. I know about it. I know about it every year. I want to attend one year. I think it'll be an interesting thing. I know about all of it. I'm like the satanic and all that stuff. Still, I like events like that. I like music, and I like attending those types of things, and I think it would be a fun thing to do. It doesn't mean I'm participating in some type of satanic event, although maybe it would. I don't know. But I know God knows where I stand on a lot of this stuff, so... On-the-ground nurse responds to rumor of Ebola at chaotic Burning Man festival. An EMS nurse working on the ground at Burning Man took a TikTok to debunk rumors. Oh, I'm glad. Glad you're there. But don't worry, it's probably just COVID. Probably COVID that killed this man overnight. So you got nothing to worry about. It's not Ebola. What's up? Oh, no, I already said what's up. I thought it was Karma Duck. She said she was going to join. Switching topics a little bit. Social media extremism and radicalization, right? Because people are going to become more and more aware of what it is that's taking place. They're going to start waking up even more than they are already. And I don't understand how everybody isn't like... I mean, how the hell are there people like the Krasensteins? Do you guys know who the Krasensteins are? How is it that there's people that are so dumbed down and so indoctrinated that they just simply gobble up and digest everything that is told to them by the same people that have been proven to be liars time and time again, especially on the most important of topics? Well, the indoctrination worked rather well. Had to have. And that's a scary thought. I'm going to jump ahead. I don't really feel like covering that one. But definitely worth paying attention to, right? It's always important to pay attention to what it is, because they could talk about anything and everything. They choose very carefully the topics of conversation. They know that people regurgitate. They talk about at the water cooler what it is that they recently just learned in the news. And then they spread that on to the next person. They could talk about anything. They talk about certain things for certain reasons, and they do it very intentionally, and it's worth paying attention to. So when you see things like this,
the shots. Researchers say, in this morning's Eye on Your Health, AI may help spread the word about the safety of COVID vaccines. A new study in Spain finds the AI tool that's known as ChatGPT is effectively debunking myths and fake stories about the safety of the shots. Researchers say it is a reliable source of non-technical information, especially for people who are not doctors or scientists. Labor Day marks the unofficial end of summer, but that doesn't mean that you should put away the sunscreen. There are many options to choose from, and there's now a push to improve those products as well. A 2017 study found around half the sunscreens in the U.S. offered less protection than other versions available in places like Europe. It's because many of their active ingredients are still not approved for medical use in the U.S. Experts are now pushing for lawmakers to reclassify sunscreen as a cosmetic product, which would then loosen up those restrictions. And that is today's Eye on Your Health. Regardless, Keith, you got to put that sunscreen on.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Irving, the city leaders are putting the lid on your trash complaints. They are adding more days to pick up your garbage, but it all comes at a price.
So, no surprise there. But jumping on to this next article, and the one after that, we're going to start getting into the nanotechnology stuff. And I know a lot of you guys like that. I do too. It's my favorite subject to talk about. But I don't like talking about it without knowing what I'm talking about. With anything, really. But especially with something that is sophisticated and has many, many different moving parts, right? Like there's always something changing. There's always new information. So it's a very hard topic to cover accurately. And I do my best. I've been pretty good at it so far, but I would like to remain that way. So that's why I don't bring them out all the time, right? I would love to constantly talk about nanotechnology and the implications of it. But I nailed so many nails into that coffin early on that I was and I'm not bragging here, guys. I know it can sound like that, but that's not the case. It's just we were so far ahead of everybody else when it come to that, even so far of society and the government and their game, that there was a period of catch up. But now that this new wave is coming, I've always constantly paying attention to the technology side of things, and I'm noticing a pattern, and that's something that kind of ended off in late 2022, kind of like this article actually, November 2022, but it picks right back up this month. Early September, like we are early September, but September 1st, September 2nd, I've seen some pretty interesting things dealing with the new jab and nanotechnology. And yeah, I don't doubt it, because there's some really strange stuff. I think microwave weapons were used. I think a lot of stuff. Just judging by some of the reports on the ground, like what people experienced. I think they threw a lot at them all at once, and the burn patterns, and like there's no carbon when you burn. When there's a wildfire, there's a lot of carbon, a lot of soot. None of this stuff had it. There's nothing that burned that has the soot of like a fire that would burn naturally. A low temperature wildfire. There's even been labs that had magnesium. Now, magnesium doesn't ignite until somebody fact check me on this, but it's like 2,000 degrees centigrade or something like that. You know how hot a fire has to be to ignite the magnesium inside of a lab? Like, that's insane. It is clearly not a wildfire. The only thing that could do that would be like microwave technology. And these are some of the reports. That was from an actual scientist that was on the ground, that was talking about his lab that he went to go visit in Lahaina afterwards, and everything was burnt, and he thought for sure he would be able to dig through the rubble, see his safe where the magnesium was kept, but it was all incinerated, all of it, including like the metal safe. And a safe is pretty damn thick, and it isn't going to burn in a wildfire. A wildfire, I don't know. Well, that's a separate video, and I could talk about Maui for hours and hours, but there's going to be enough Mauis happening in the future that I'll save my breath for some of those. The therapeutic potential of nanotechnology beyond COVID-19. It's been years in the making, but the promise of messenger mRNA vaccines has finally been realized thanks to the global pandemic that accelerated research and innovation in the field. Let's all give a round of applause for the wonderful globalists that have succeeded in their endeavor to create messenger RNA, which allows new proteins to be inserted into your body to create whatever types of technologies that are needed. The lipid nanoparticles that protect mRNA and deliver it into cells, not just cells, but allow bypassing the blood-brain barrier, they always leave that out for some reason. I wonder why. This article will discuss the landscape of lipid nanoparticles research and future opportunities for nanotechnology beyond COVID-19. Wait a minute, what do you mean beyond COVID-19? I thought other than lipid, like what else is there? They weren't really used. They don't want us to believe that nanotechnology was in the vaccines, but they do admit that lipid nanoparticles were at the same time. It's a confusing scenario that they're always throwing at us dealing with this stuff. But we know better over here. While several vaccines have been deployed in the fight against SARS-CoV-2, the two lipid nanoparticle-based mRNA vaccines, Moderna and Pfizer, BioNTech, have the most widely used, demonstrating the pivotal role of nanotechnology in the response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The large-scale rollout of these vaccines in 2021 changed the course of the pandemic, causing a remarkable decline in COVID-19 cases. Did it? Well, that's wonderful. However, due to the rapid spread of the virus, several new variants of SARS-CoV-2 have arisen and are expected to emerge, creating an enormous public health challenge. Variants of concern such as Delta and Omicron have impacted vaccine and blah, 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 blah. I just kind of wanted to let you guys almost like a flashback a little bit to some of the last stuff I was covering dealing with this nanotechnology, right? Letting us know that there's much more on the way, much more to look forward to, saving us from all of the horrible diseases that are out there. As long as we get these wonderful technologies inside of our body, we will be fine. So they say. September 4th, 2023. Neural nanotechnology. Nanowire networks learn and remember like a human brain. Interesting, because Charles Lieber and Robert Langer were working on these nanowire networks, and Robert Langer went off to found Moderna. So, just don't pay attention to that aspect of it. Let's just read the article. Human-like intelligence could be physical. In a groundbreaking study, an international team has shown that nanowire networks can mimic the short and long-term memory functions of the human brain. This breakthrough paves the way for replicating brain-like learning and memory in non-biological systems with potential applications in robotic and sensor devices. It says non-biological systems. Now, what is memory, first off? It's information that's saved. It's saved information, especially in the case in which they're referring to, because it's not memory like we have, but they're literally talking about using nanowires, which we've covered countless patents between Charles Lieber and Robert Langer and his teacups and all that stuff to show that this was something that they had invested a massive amount of time in their career exploring and researching. But now these same technologies can be used in combination with AI to form sort of a memory. So it's going to record all of your body data, your brain, your nervous system, everything about you. So remember how I was saying, just with the current technology that and the patents and everything that we were able to put together, it was clear that they would be able to real-time monitor you. Not even just monitor like simple things like your pH levels or your blood pressure, your heart rate, things like that. But actual, down to the cellular level, everything, including your nerve impulse, your, what's the word for it? There's a word, it's escaping me at the moment, but essentially, if I move my right hand right now, that involves sensation, that involves electricity to pass through nerve cells. It allows also the recording of that and being sent in a bi-directional two-way system, according to them. So hypothetically speaking, that could be monitored given they have the technology to translate that. And that could easily be done through an algorithm through advanced AI like GPT-4, which is available to the public. So I can only imagine what it is that they have. But even so, you could do it with what we currently have access to. But if it says it can remember, that means you can go back. That means these nanowire systems that are being built inside the people. Don't think about the blood clots that people keep suddenly dying with and these weird tree-like formations that have these tiny little wires, these little copper and gold wires running through them. That's very strange, but it has nothing to do with any of this. Probably, I assure you, don't pay no mind to that, YouTube. But if that were to be the case, and they could record memory as such, then there's no escaping anything. Everything will be recorded, and you will be able to go back on the person. So it's not just live. You can reverse. You can rewind. Well, what was their heart rate then? What were they thinking then? And that could be mapped out. And said, like the ramifications of this are just absolutely insane. And we are living in a sci-fi world. And as crazy as it sounds, as ridiculous as some of these notions are, there's more than enough evidence. They're telling you, not me, they're telling you that this stuff exists. And what happened here? Had to go back? Okay, fine. Let's do it. An international team led by scientists at the University of Sydney has demonstrated nanowire networks can exhibit both short and long-term memory like the human brain. The research has been published today in the journal Science Advances, led by Dr. Alan Loeffler, who received his PhD in the School of Physics Collaboration in Japan. In this research, we found higher order cognition function, which we normally associate with the human brain, can be emulated in non-biological hardware. Nanowires is what they're talking about. Now, even though this is non-biological, this could be incorporated inside of the biological entity in which this technology has been injected into. And if you look at the patents that we have gone over many, many, many times, it clearly shows when they're testing these things on lab rats, when they're testing these things on guinea pigs, when they're testing these things on primates, that they intend to use them in vivo, in the body, and not in some robot somewhere. Although that as well, I'm sure. But that's not what the patents say. This work builds on our previous research in which we showed how nanotechnology could be used to build a brain-inspired electrical device with neural network-like circuitry and synapse-like signaling. Our current work paves the way toward replicating brain-like learning and memory in non-biological hardware systems and suggests that underlying nature of brain-like intelligence may be physical. Maybe something that you could have a brain inside your brain is what they're talking about. One's yours and one's not. And then with things like Neuralink and shit, like I can only imagine the dystopian future that we are heading towards. Nobody could even write this. There is just not a single sci-fi book I've ever read that even comes close to touching what this ultimately is looking like it's coming out to be. The beast system, in fact. Total control. Absolutely, Jen. It's just total is the key word. They're not going to miss a beat. Literally everything. And we've seen through the advances in optogenetics how they're now being able to see through people's eyes at a distance and recreate that on a computer screen. Now, that was a couple of years old, 5-10 years old, since they last produced any real information about how far they've come. I'm sure that that's been perfected to the point where, yeah, they can literally see through your eyes, providing you have these technologies inside of you. How ridiculous does this sound right now? I'm my own worst critic. I would love to believe, like, I'm like, nah, that shit can't be real. Let me check a little bit more. Let me find shit to disprove this. And every time I do that, it only adds to it. Because that's one of the best things, the greatest things you can do when if you're actually concerned about the information and you don't have an agenda or you don't have a bias you're trying to follow and you just want the truth. Whatever it is that you currently believe that the evidence is purported to show you, try to disprove it. It doesn't matter if it's something you like or dislike, try to disprove it. And that's what I constantly do with this stuff. And every time I do, it just shows me that no, indeed, there is more and more to this. And it's almost inescapable at this point. And one of my fears is this year, if you want to keep your insurance, because last year they met privately with a lot of insurance companies. By they, I mean some scumbag politicians, some parasites. Met privately with a lot of insurance company bigwigs, some presidents, VPs, CEOs, and the such. And what they talked about was never disclosed, just the fact that they met. And nothing really ended up happening, although they did have a couple mainstream media articles coming out saying, like, should we hold people's insurance if they don't get vaccinated? Now, I could see something like that actually happening this year. That tends to be the way of it. They usually introduce an idea, much like the vaccine passport and things like that, before they do it. And they wait like a year. 3 months to a year is usually what I see. They never jump right into it. It'd be too obvious. And people have like goldfish memories now anyway. So they don't have to wait too long. It's typically like a year. So now that they brought that idea up, and it makes me wonder, well, now that this new wave, right, this new one, and who knows whether it's actually kill people or it won't. We don't know yet. But if you don't go and get your jab, will you be able to get your other medications, the things that you need? Like my wife's inhaler, for instance, like whatever blood pressure medication you might be on. Like these are like serious questions, and I hope they don't go down that road, but they're already. It's not by accident that all these rumors are spreading. And Alex Jones was the one to break the news that we're going to be heading towards lockdown. Does that make anybody feel any better? Like, do you really believe Alex Jones is like this guy that's out there just trying? No, he is fucking bought and paid for. His father was a CIA agent. He was that rebellious that he went in the complete opposite direction? No. Just like Tucker Carlson's father was a CIA agent. They keep the shit in the family. Would you know if they were in the CIA? No. Did anybody know that there were multiple CIA agents working in the media before the church hearings? No. No, of course not. That would defeat the whole purpose. I'm going to jump ahead. Form resubmission. Fine. I'll do that. They really try throwing shit in the way of me doing my videos, but we can close it. And this also speaks to the exact same thing I was just talking about. Combination of nanotechnology and artificial intelligence powers second skin-like wearable tech. Now, what does this second skin wearable tech provide? It's almost like they have to pretend that they come out with this technology that allows them to do the things that they're already able to do with the technologies that are being built inside of people, potentially, that may have certain technologies inside of them due to something that they may have had injected inside of them. Possibly. In my opinion, YouTube. I hate all those caveats, but I have to do it. Researchers from the Faculty of Engineering and Faculty of Information Technology combine nanotechnology and artificial intelligence to bring machines one step closer to communicating with the human body. Thanks, New Edge. I appreciate that. I do my best. It's just important stuff to pay attention to. I think, like, for multiple reasons. Using specialized algorithms, personalized artificial intelligence technology can now disentangle multiple body signals, including your brain waves, your synaptic firings. That was one of the first things that they were focused on. They achieved it, but not just that, everything, guys. And that's what I've been talking about since day one. They literally are working on mapping out everything and running that through AI. That used to be a conspiracy theory. This exact article that we're reading right now was called a conspiracy theory back in late 2020. No, that's not happening. None of this is written up. Even though all the evidence was there, we've seen all the research, we've seen the people that were funding the research, the usual suspects. But yet we were constantly told, no, 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 no. Now they just open, and this is constantly the way of it, right? Just push it off. Let's just give us a few more years. We'll tell them it's all BS. And then we'll release it on our own terms, but we'll wrap it in pretty wrapping paper. Thanks, Jen. That's nice. Appreciate that. Using specialized algorithms, personalized artificial intelligence technology can now disentangle multiple body signals, understand them, and make a decision on what to do next. So let's say you've mapped out. This is a little ways down the future, but we know there's a big psyop coming, and we know that they're going to do their best to go after certain ideologies. Now, that there's going to be a lot of outcry about that, right? That's not fair. But they're going to be able to be like, okay, well, we were basing that off of like the manifestos and the profiles of these people. Now, we admit we're not perfect. However, we have these technologies that allow us the actual information. And like it says here, and make a decision on what to do next? What are you talking about? Could you please elaborate before you say some ridiculous, crazy shit like that? Understand them and make a decision on what to do next? Things that are attached to you. Now, keep in mind, almost all of these technologies are bi-directional. Not only do they sense it, but they can also stimulate those cells, those nerve endings, and cause whatever reaction, the same that they can see, oh, this person just moved their left hand, send that exact same thing back, and that person involuntarily moves their left hand. That's how this stuff works. This is not me saying this. I want to make that extremely, that's so important for you guys to understand, that none of this, I would rather it not be the case. I'd much rather sit here and say, it's a long ways off. I can't really find any evidence to support that they would have the abilities to do this, but that's not the case. Not only do they not, they have more than enough, and there's not enough hours in a day to find all this stuff that they're currently working on to create this technocratic dystopian future where we're all 110% monitored. And what that means, bi-directional, is anything that we do can be put back to us to get us to do. If they want to stop a heart, if they're monitoring heartbeats with these technology, that's nothing to them. But by the way, well, not by the way, but on a separate note, COVID's coming. I guess there's possibly another wave. Go and get your boosters, guys. Make sure you line up. Go and get jabbed as many times as you can. You need to be safe, and I'm sure it's effective. I'm sure it is effective. I don't know about, And now, I'm not saying any of this is related to the vaccines. Not at all. I'm sure none of this is in the vaccines, actually. Matter of fact, they would never, ever do anything to harm us. They only have our best intentions in mind. And the new COVID vaccines, I'm sure, have been tested vigorously and I'm sure are safe and effective. But this type of technology, on the other hand, these nanotechnologies, are worrisome. I'm going to send a shout out before I go to this Minutes of Horror channel, guys. It's
so in the news and media, they are saying there is.
I was talking to him briefly. I said, anytime I see a channel on this platform that is speaking the truth that I stumble across, and I usually can tell that there's nobody pulling the strings, right? He's a real boy. So, Minutes of Horror, I don't have a link, but this is what it looks like. Providing pretty good information. Go over, check them out, subscribe. I'm gonna get wrapping it up. Same here, John. Same here. And I don't know. I just got a feeling it's gonna be a tough year for a lot of people. I think the insurance thing's gonna be a very powerful motivator for many. But make sure you hit the thumbs up. Come back, leave a comment after it loads if you can. It helps with the algorithms. And share the video, guys. Share it wherever you can. Copy the link. Get it out there. We need to grow this channel. It's us versus the most ridiculous shadow banning that anybody on this platform has ever received. I have to be in the top 10. There's no doubt about that in my mind. But it's not going to be that easy for them. Especially when I got a bunch of soldiers like you guys. I hope you all have a great day. I hope you really enjoyed your Labor Day weekend. And don't comply. Much love. Peace.